In 2012, it was back home again to Indiana. I had the opportunity to step in as governor of the great state of Indiana. I followed on the heels of a great friend and champion of conservative ideals and a great leader in our state, Mitch Daniels. He'd put our fiscal house in order, but I knew that if we allowed the people of Indiana to keep more of what they earned, if we made the right investments in education, innovation, and reform, if we made the right investments in the kind of government that Hoosiers might expect, that we could go from good to great. And we did. In the last 4 years, we passed the largest state tax cut in Indiana history and now are home to the largest school voucher program in the United States of America. Unemployment in Indiana was over 8% when I became governor, and it's below 5% today. Hoosier businesses, large and small, have created more than 150,000 net new jobs. And here in our bicentennial year in my state, we have more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the state of Indiana. But that's what strong Republican leadership gets you. And that's exactly the kind of strong Republican leadership that Donald Trump will bring to the White House. Trust me when I say this. When we come together as a party and a people, we re-elect strong conservative majorities in the House and the Senate, and elect this good man as the 45th President of the United States, I know in my heart of hearts we will make America great again, at home and abroad. He's a builder. He's a fighter. He's a father, and he's a patriot. I have to tell you, having had some time to spend with this good man and his family, I know that Donald Trump will be a great President of the United States of America because his heart beats with the heart of the American people. I honestly believe in the collective wisdom of the American people and the capacity of the people of our nation to know who we need, who the right person is at the right time for America. It happened in 1980 when Ronald Reagan was chosen that we had a man like our nominee this year who, although he had achieved great heights in his own career, never lost touch with everyday Americans. To be around our nominee, as I had the privilege to be, not on the campaign trail, but out among his associates, people that he's employed for years, and among his family, I have a sense of this man. I have a sense of his heart. I have a sense of his hands-on style of leadership. And for all the world, he reminds me of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan achieved great things in his life and his career. A movie star, a celebrity, a governor of the great state of California, but he never lost the common touch, did he? One of my most cherished speeches of Ronald Reagan was his farewell address in the Oval Office. In fact, he talked about being in a motorcade. And I can report to you today here at the ACU, I came over on my first trip in a motorcade today. I actually got out of the car in the alley and I saw all these cars. And I turned to the security official and I said, "Are they all with us?" So welcome to our world, dear. But I'll never forget those words, and I'll paraphrase them if you'll forgive me. In the Oval Office when Ronald Reagan talked about speeding by and seeing everyday Americans waving, and how in his heart of heart, even after 8 years that literally transformed our nation and transformed the world, Ronald Reagan spoke about how he wanted just to reach out and touch the people that were waving along the roadsides, because that's where his heart was at. And I submit to you today, having gotten to know this good man who is our nominee, Donald Trump may have achieved great heights in business and industry and in the world of entertainment, but his heart is with everyday Americans, and he will fight every day to strengthen this nation and bring America back. So the time has come for us to come together. Primaries are over. It was a big stage up there with a lot of extraordinarily talented men and women. But I say to my fellow conservatives today, it's time for us to come together. Time for us to come together around this good man and re-electing Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, because this is no ordinary time in the life of our nation. The truth of the matter is the agenda of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton has weakened America's place in the world and stifled our nation's economy. And so we must decide here and now that Hillary Clinton will never become president of the United States of America. For the sake of our troops, who deserve a commander-in-chief who will have their back. For the sake of hard-working Americans and businesses who deserve a president who will get Washington, D.C. off their back. And for the sake of a Supreme Court that will uphold the sanctity of life, our Second Amendment, and our God-given liberties, we must elect Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States of America. And we must be confident. With this, I'll close. We must be confident in the choice the American people will make and have made. I got a chance to meet Ronald Reagan in 1988 when I was preparing to lose my first campaign for Congress. We went to the White House. You can probably Google it online and find a picture of someone who looks alarmingly like my son sitting next to Ronald Reagan. We were waiting anxiously. Karen and I were in the East Room with a short line of candidates waiting for the photo op with the president. They'd handed me a card about what to say, something about we needed a bridge or we needed a road or something about Indiana that we could put in a press release. And I turned to that young lady over there and I said, you know, this man is the reason why I became a Republican. And I just would like to say something from my heart. And my wife, as she always does, says, just tell him what's on your heart. So I sat down. It's in the Blue Room. I sat down across from the president. For all the world, I felt like I was talking to Mount Rushmore. I was a little nervous. But I collected myself, and the president graciously asked as the cameras were clicking, he said, Mike, how's the campaign going? And I said, well, it's going fine, but I got something I'd like to say. And he said, well, say it. And I said, Mr. President, I would just like to thank you for everything you've done for this country and everything you've done to encourage my generation of Americans to believe in this country again. And for all the world, for the rest of my life, I will believe in that moment that the 40th President of the United States of America blushed and said, well, that's a very nice thing of you to say. Like he'd never heard it before. But then a few minutes later, I understood why he responded as he did. And it's what I want to leave you with today as we go into the next 4 months of this campaign. He walked into the East Room, and Karen was there with a few other spouses, maybe about 30 of us. And apparently a few other of the candidates had said the things that I'd said to him. So he stepped up to a makeshift podium, and he said words I will never forget. He said, "You know, a couple of you thanked me for what I did for this country. But," he said, "I don't think I did anything for this country." He said, "I think the American people decided to right the ship, and I was just the captain they put on the bridge when they did it." What I saw there was extraordinary humility. What I saw there was an unshakable faith in the capacity of the American people to achieve greatness and astound the world. And what I saw there in the East Room at the White House, I promise you, I hear it and I see it in the man who I believe will be the next president of the United States. He loves this country. He believes in the American people and their boundless potential. He is unintimidated by the world, but he is in awe of the people of this country.